So this has obviously been a tough week for the music world. Lost three real giants in Tom T. Hall, Don Everly, and today we learned that Charlie Watts, at the age of 80, longtime Rolling Stones drummer, my favorite member of the Stones, always has been. I've always loved how sort of reserved and classy and gentleman-like Charlie Watts has always seemed, at least as far as I know him, or know of him. So that was a big one today, and of course Don Everly and Tom T. Hall as well. So I was going to quickly just share some of their music that I love. I was going to do my top 5 Rolling Stones records, and just a little tribute to these three that we have lost, whose music in various ways has had a huge impact on my life. So Tom T. Hall, I learned about via this compilation. It's called the Tom T. Hall Project. It came out in 1998, and it is one of my favorite compilations ever. Right near the top 5. Starts off with Johnny Cash doing I Wash My Face in the Morning Dew, and Kelly Willis with a gorgeous cover of That's How We Got to Memphis, Richard Buckner with a wonderful cover of When Love Is Gone, and Calexico, Joe Henry, Ralph Stanley, Mark Olson and Victoria Williams, Iris DeMent, Freddie Johnston does a great cover of Coffee, Coffee, Coffee. I just love this compilation. I don't believe it's on streaming services, so this is one of the examples of why I hold on to my CDs, especially certain CDs, because they're not available on streaming. So if I didn't have this, I don't know where I could listen to it. I don't know, maybe it's on YouTube. But a tremendous compilation that introduced me to Tom T. Hall. Don't have a lot of Tom T. Hall records. I have this Greatest Hits that I've had for a bit. This is a great collection. That's How I Got to Memphis is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's been covered so many times. Just a remarkable songwriter. And I am now getting into his catalog and really loving it. So thank you to Tom T. Hall. The Everly Brothers, I will do a video on one day. So this is a reissue that came out on Record Store Day a few years ago. When I look back on the music that first influenced me as a child, and I've mentioned them before, I came from 2 homes. My parents got divorced when I was really young, and I mentioned how much my dad turned me on to sort of the classics. Certainly Springsteen, he played Springsteen all the time, but the Beatles, the Stones, Sam Cooke, Otis Redding. But my mother is actually equally as responsible. She was more of an oldies. Is that the genre? Is that still a genre? The Everly Brothers, Elvis, Buddy Holly. She loved Buddy Holly. But the Everly Brothers were her favorite. So Don Everly was very dear to my mother, and the harmonies that I heard in the Everly Brothers is similar to the harmonies I heard with Simon and Garfunkel, which I have talked about when I saw the concert in Central Park, and it sort of changed my life as a kid, made music so important to me. But the Everly Brothers and their compilations, or their records, are just tremendous. I remember I went into Other Music, which many of you probably know, that record store in New York City. There's a documentary out on it right now. It closed, I think, in 2016. I went in one day and they were playing an Everly Brothers compilation, and I have it on CD. I won't get it now, but and I bought it on the spot. I walked in and I said, I think this is the Everly Brothers. I think this is the music my mom used to play for me, and I bought it. So Tom T. Hall and the Everly Brothers, or Tom T. Hall and Don Everly, sorry, haven't had my afternoon coffee yet, will be greatly, greatly missed. And then, of course, Charlie Watts of the Rolling Stones. And as I mentioned at the outset, I've always just loved his grace and class and he didn't want the spotlight on him. Stephen Hayden, the writer, has a great tweet about Charlie today about the video for Angie, and Charlie just looks bored because he's not sort of a rock and roll guy. It's just, just look it up, Stephen Hayden, Hyden. And it's sort of like you think of the Beatles and the Stones, and the Beatles, my favorites were George and John, and I love Paul and Ringo too, but I loved how George was a little bit, to me at least, seemed like he had a little bit of that Charlie sort of reserved background feel, despite both of them being in two of the most important artistic sort of endeavors. I don't know what that means, ever. Two of the greatest bands of all time, two of the most important musical ensembles. I don't know where I'm getting these words from. So let's just dive in. I want to make this one not too long. I got a dog with a limp today, so I might have to take him off to the vet. He's out with his dog walker right now, and she's checking on him. So my favorite Rolling Stones records, top 5. Starting at number 5 would be Between the Buttons. And I learned about this record, I'm almost positive, when I was reading a Jeff Tweedy, his favorite records of all time, and he referenced this. I'm pretty sure. It may have been the same one that I talked about, where he talked about, was it the Richard and Linda Thompson record? Yeah, Pour Down Like Silver. It may have been that list where he talked about Between the Buttons. And I went out and bought it on CD, and I've loved it ever since. This is a reissue. Came out a couple of years ago. But Yesterday's Papers, Backstreet Girl, Miss Amanda Jones. This record is tremendous. So at number 5, Between the Buttons by the Rolling Stones. Next 4 are all going to be pretty obvious. 4 is Beggar's Banquet. Love this one. A lot of people probably put this at number 1. I just ordered the reissue this morning because I thought I had it and I don't. And this is an old version. Sympathy for the Devil, of course, No Expectations. Factory Girl, Salt of the Earth, Street Fighting Man. Just a remarkable, remarkable record. Number 3 is Sticky Fingers. This is the reissue. It came out 2015. I mean, Brown Sugar, Sway, Wild Horses, Can't You Hear Me Knockin', Sister Morphine, Dead Flowers, Moonlight Mile. As good as it gets, and it's at number 3. I'm sure you already know what the top 2 are. This used to be my number 1, but it was edged out a few years ago. So at number 2 is Exile on Main Street. Some people would say this is the greatest record ever made, greatest rock and roll record ever made. It's Exile. I don't need to tell you. I certainly don't need to tell you about my number 1, but Exile on Main Street. I listened to this in full on Sunday during the day, and just what a powerhouse. But my favorite, and it's really not even that close anymore. And I found out this was in when I did my brother's top 10 records of all time, this was in his top 10 as well. And it made my top 10, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't have the list in front of me. But it's Let It Bleed. Top to bottom, I listen to this record all the time. I probably listened to this 5 times more than any other Stones record. Love in Vain, Gimme Shelter, Monkey Man. God, Monkey Man is just... This is a masterpiece. I have the reissue. This is, I think, an original. This is London Records. This is my favorite. So thank you to Charlie Watts. If this shows up on YouTube, and anybody who knows him, I'm incredibly sorry. I've always loved him. Charlie Watts, Tom T. Hall, and Don Everly, 3 giants in music that we lost this week. One other thing, I mentioned that I am giving $1 for every subscription or subscriber to this channel, to Backline. We're at 720 something. It goes up and down. And I have already given them, I said when we hit 500, I gave them $500, and so we're now at about 220 or so. I think I put the ceiling at 4,000 for the end of the year. We're definitely not going to get, or I am definitely not going to get near 4,000, but every subscriber is $1 to Backline. You can look them up, backline.care. It's mental health for the music industry. It's very dear to me. I actually help them out. So if you're hesitant to subscribe and or whatever, for whatever reason you don't, but you think, hey, I can give $1 to a mental health organization, that sub is an extra $1. So on December 31st, I'll see the total and send that donation to Backline on behalf of all the people who watch my videos. Thank you for everybody who engages. All the comments, I really appreciate it. And is that it? Oh, giveaways. In my next video, I'll be doing another giveaway. We did it a month ago or so with the Brent Best record, and I shipped that out. And I believe that has made it to the gentleman who got my question about the Slobberbone Drive-By Truckers show in New York. So thanks for tuning in. Rest in peace to these wonderful giants of music, and I will talk to you soon.